Ooh, ooh. Live back in action for this week's Mojo. I'm pretty excited about this one. And this is a special shout out for Mark and Todd, extremely relevant to what we're working on right now. So a couple of really cool points. I want to say thank you to everybody that wrote into me and emailed me on nikki@thevitalitycoach.com.au because your messages about last week's SOS shiny object syndrome and overcoming those distractions and roadblocks, they really hit me as a resonant point as well, that I'm on track with you guys, and I exactly know what it feels like when you just can't get that momentum, and then you realize that you're your own roadblock from all the fear of just stepping out and doing and saying exactly what you want and releasing all that programming. So welcome to this week's Mojo as well. So if you haven't already, please share and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just hit the notification button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And as well, hop over to the vitalitycoach.com.au, my website, where you can sign up for Monday Mojo, the full email and the blog that I write to go along with this video, the tips, the tools, the downloads and everything, as well as special quote card sets that I designed to go with these as well. A couple of administration notes. Finally, Adulting is in print. So special thanks to James Hunter from KPMG for his patience, who wrote the foreword for the book, and also to everyone that's kind of read over it. 2 years ago, I sat at lunch and I showed the cover and the book to a group of friends, and now it had a redesign, not because of that, but because I felt like it was just too fluffy. And one of the confronting things about working with me as a coach is that I get straight to the point. So I'm not for everybody, but then I decided the book had to be like that. So I had to strip everything out and get rid of some editorial construct that wasn't mine at all and just write it raw. And also keeping in mind who I wrote that for. It has a bit of a male skew to it, because most of the people that I work with at high-end level are predominantly male. But I think there's a lot of lack of resources around navigating this modern world for men in leadership just as much for women. So I hope that next week when I'm online, I'll get to show you the new cover, and we'll have some deadlines for when the book will be ready and out of print. So without further ado, I want to talk to you today about something that we don't get often asked enough. Or if we do get asked about it, we don't actually know how to answer it, because we're so busy putting constructs around our life based on, what everything else, I'm sorry, just going to turn my phone off there, what everything else that matters. And, according to everybody else's agreement of what success looks like, internal programming way from when we were a child right through to school and university or whatever. And you'll notice that you'll see a lot of great minds that have fantastic channels like now sharing the fact that to overcome adversity in their own programming, they really had to stand in sense of self, and they had to drop a pen and go, God, what is it that I really stand for? What is it that really lights me up? What are my vital ingredients to become the very best version of myself? So most of us have been operating on a capacity, if you think about a battery, of maybe 20% of our personal capacity. We haven't even dived into or experienced true alignment. And if you've been watching Pete Evans, Chef Pete Evans on 60 Minutes, or all the stuff around his viewpoints, are people talking about awakening, people talking about alignment, people talking about conspiracy theories, people talking about following your own path, a sense of sovereign self. This is vital, and it should never have been an option. It should never have been a big question. So with the quantum coaching that I do, all we work on is putting founders, CEOs, and the people I work with firmly in the driver's seat of their fullest potential. And it's a real journey. It's a rally. It's not, like a Formula One track where someone comes and they pick the lint off for you and then you go off in your shiny car. In fact, it's all seasons, all conditions. And that's what I love about this life. It's like, multicolored, it's rich, it's alarming, and it's just this effervescent kind of matrix if you decide to step in. Now, most of the time we're on autopilot, and then we look up and we get forced to make a change. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people will stay in the path of least resistance, which is the antithesis, because actually you'll just get forced to go into different corners and different corners and different corners until there is nowhere else for you to go apart from face yourself. So today, if you're listening to this, either if you're listening to it live or hi, thanks for joining. Let me know who you are. I never know who's listening, so please leave a comment in the chat thing. That'd be really cool. I'm getting better at this. But if you're listening to this and you were drawn to this title, that means you have to hear this message. So great, welcome. And I just want to give you a bit of truth. Number one, you are entirely accountable for your own life. Stuff can happen to you. There are things that are outside of our control, but ultimately how you respond to a situation and how you actually feel your body, the filters you give your mental perspective, how you navigate your way through challenges is really based on your own internal operating system. Now, most of the time we're working in a 2020 landscape, this modern world, digital, over-information, over-intellectualization, exhibition of everything, reality shows, like nothing is left uncovered, but we're doing it on a 1950s hard drive, if you like. We're doing it with an outdated operating system. So the world in terms of technology, in terms of reach and relevance, in terms of media, platforms, synergies, AI, whatever, that's all gone. But what's happened is that our internal operating system to keep up with the pace of development and future programming hasn't actually sustained the same tempo. So we're left here in an old operating system in our mental hard drive trying to navigate way through a modern landscape. It's like chaos, you know? So I always say to my clients, it's like you're Luke Skywalker and you've just got your lightsaber and you're kind of figuring out how to use it, but everything's changing so fast that it just goes everywhere. So let me take today to ground with you on this week's Mojo, all linking back to quantum decision making that I work on with my clients. It's a really cool program, and all working back at the moment on the book Adulting, which is in print again. Due to COVID, we had to change printers, which was kind of annoying, but hey ho, doesn't matter. Probably worked out for the best. So the first thing I want you to think about is, when is the last time you took a pit stop and you thought, shit, what do I really want to need? Not like what should I want to need, not what looks good, not what is the easiest to get, not what everyone else wants, but what do you, the listener, the reader, the viewer, whatever, what do you really need to operate at your best capacity? Like for me, it's the ocean and nature. I can't be in a confined space with artificial lights for far too long. I'm best a creature of nature. I think best then. It gives me my best creative ideas. It allows me to make good decisions. It's exhilarating, oxygenating, and requiring part of my kind of mental agility is to be outside. I need that fresh air. I know that about myself, so it's no use fighting it. The other thing is people, places, things, environments, food, fitness, activities, all these things that we put ourselves in and the interactions we have, they all have like a kind of a battery effect. They either kind of charge or they repel. So what completes you and charges you up, or what just depletes you? So think about that. What charges you up and gives you energy, and what totally drains your energy? You must be aware of that. You can't just go through and go, oh, this is so tiring, and then keep staying in that position. That's completely autopilot, and that's not taking accountability. The problem is that what we do is we go through all the solution scenarios. And we think, oh, well, I can't really give up this project, or I can't escape that person because they're family, or we've all these stories of why evolution and change to move away from what depletes us into what completes us, why that is not going to be possible. But that's not even truth. Those are just assumptions. And as I said to one of my clients on the phone this morning, we're talking about a merger or a big deal. I said, we can't assume what the potential buyer, his landscape is, until we really, really ask these questions. We should never assume. We should get as much information as possible, because only then can we make an informed decision. But the problem is our subconscious, as we go through taking accountability for living our best self, for preparing for our best life, it wants to shut all that thinking down. It goes, no, don't even bother. Don't even bother thinking that you can go off and play golf for half a day on Saturday. You've got 2 young kids. Or don't think you can get back into surfing, because, you'd have to leave what your wife doesn't like it. I mean, it's just all these reasons why we feel we can't actually step into what's required. However, you have to stop thinking like that, because if you are the best authentic version of you, the happiest, the most recharged, the most centered, the grounded, the visionary, the creative, the energized version of you, then can you imagine the type of person that your respective ecosystem gets because of that? They get the most vibrant, educated, intelligent, energized version of you. They don't get the drained, complacent, exhausted, unhappy, dissatisfied, kind of begrudging version of you. They get the best version of you. So it is absolutely up to you to put your oxygen mask on first. But what you might have thought was your vital ingredients in your 20s and 30s, or your teens, depending on how old you are when you're watching this, that's probably changed. And you really need to take 15 minutes out off the back of this video and take a sheet of paper and go, what completes me? What depletes me? So what lifts me up? And what takes me down? I call this the vitality bank. Where do you mortgage yourself? Where do you keep loaning out your energy and not getting anything back? It's like only paying the interest and not the kind of principal of your loan. You have to invest in self. You must. It is your sovereign right to absolutely run on all cylinders. So how much sleep do you need? For me, it's 6 hours. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed. Sometimes I'm awake all night, and then I'll just go like that for 2 or 3 days if I'm in massive creative spurts. I've just got used to it. The other thing is who. Do not ignore your body's natural repellent or compellent towards people, because your intuition knows. Now, if you're spending time draining yourself around people that don't add any value, that you can't really be yourself in, you have to listen to that. And if you have a relationship that is just not working in full harmony, you must pay attention to that. You can't just let it sit and hope it works itself out. We spend lots of time working on projects and marketing and budgets, but why don't we spend the same amount of time working on ourselves? You have to be the CEO of your life as well as your business. And that means defining what great looks like. That means, what does your ideal day look like? What does your winning week look like? And then figuring out the ingredients that have to go into you enabling the very best version of self. Chris, if you're listening to this, I know it's sailing. Todd, you love your boat. Mark, you love spending time with your family. Alexa, you love going out to the farm. So, do that more often. And also the importance of me time. If we don't eradicate the white noise and the distractions and the environmental kind of frequency disruptions, you can't hear yourself. So if you need to make some conscious decisions, if you need to refill your own energetic cup, if you need to work on your creativity, play some more music, have some space for yourself in today's world, you need to carve that out. You can't wait for someone else to give that. You actually need to ask for it. Now, we can't ask for what we want unless we know what that is. So in this week's Mojo, I've put a couple of quotes in there, but I've also put the 3 steps, which is accepting that you are your greatest asset. So you're going to have to sit down and put some time into figuring out where you need to take action in your life. And chances are, if you're getting annoyed at your staff or your family for not taking accountability, for not looking after themselves, for not taking action, then you're probably just doing the absolute same thing. There's probably many things that you are not taking action for in your own life, and that there's some gentle and very clever saboteurs in your subconscious. Your ego is probably very clever, keeping you away from that growth. The second thing is acknowledging, writing down the list of your vital ingredients without worrying if it can happen or not. Just explore it. It's a piece of paper. It's not a prison sentence, right? The only prison we really have is our mental prison, when we tell ourselves we can't do something for all of the above reasons. So you've got to stop the blurts column and you've got to write down, what do I really love to do? And for some people, it's cooking, reading. For some people, it's tennis. For some people, it's walking the dog, spending time with their kids. It might be that you just want a romantic meal with your partner once a month because you really treasure that time. Then you've got to define it so that it becomes part of your life. But if you don't define what you want, you'll get what you're given. So accept you need to do this. Acknowledge what that list is. And the one thing I also write about on today's Mojo You can sign up on my website, vitalitycoach.com.au. Just hit Monday Mojo, the blog, and it will sign you up. Is that this is just not about kind of nutrition and food and budgeting and preparing and understanding and planning. It's also about understanding reciprocal relationships with people, with projects, where you can add value, that value is recognized and you get that back. It's the balance of time and integrity. It's the open conversations. It's the transparency around personal and business contracts. It's the ability to be totally in your truth. And sometimes to discern what that truth really is, you need to take a moment to step back, to get rid of all the noise and the distractions, and to go, God, what do I really want, need to say, and how am I going to articulate that? Because these things are only great once we've identified them. But the clarity behind that comes when we can really communicate that to other people. And there's 3 ways to do that. Know what you want and need. Understand your why, because when it's a considered, resonated, real-time why, you can't be shaken off that pouch. And then the third thing is communicating that with a grounded energy to others. You're not trying to tear their lives upside down or be unreasonable. You're just in your truth. And with truth comes freedom. With truth comes choice. So when people know exactly what you need, where you are, how you think and feel, they have a better ability to step in and meet you halfway or to negotiate with you so you can have a mutually reciprocal relationship around what you're doing. And if that alignment isn't there, stop trying to force it, because maybe it's best suited to someone else. Sometimes we hang on to people, places, projects, and things for far too long. But if you keep that blockage sitting there and you don't do anything about it, you're actually preventing things coming in for someone else and things coming in for you. So stop trying to hang on to situations, places, habits, and things that no longer serve you, because you're preventing everybody's happiness. You're preventing the project productivity. There's a roadblock to flow. It's like you're stemming the water flowing over the stones. And often when we don't take time out to consider what we want, we get more and more disgruntled, more de-energized, more dissatisfied, more disillusioned, and more cluttered in our thinking because we just don't know what way is up. So the most amazing thing you can do for yourself is to drop a pin and to take a pit stop today for 15 minutes, 1% of your day, and to write out your vital ingredients. People, places, projects, things, where do you operate at your best? What do you need to refuel you? And think about the food you put in your body, the types of activities that you love to do. Who cares if people have a gym membership? If you like to go walking or surfing, that's your activity. Own your stuff. Be in your sovereign self. And then when you're in that alignment, the people that truly are there for you will continue on that road with you. The ones that want to keep you stuck won't. But you have to be courageous enough to ask yourself the question: do you want to stay stuck in a disillusioned autopilot life where you're getting what you're given? Or do you want to have the courage to actually stand up for what you want and to start defining that and to start telling people what you need and why? Because that is a very, very powerful place to be. And the other thing I think I want to say to you, that your kids, they're all their own individual sovereign selves. So do you know what they really love? Do you know what lights them up? Do you know what adds value in their life? It doesn't matter if they're 4 or 14 or 18. It's about having that connection to understand that little individual in front of you is an own sovereign individual with their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own needs, their own wants. And instead of imposing our expectations, our desires, our should do's, our could do's onto other people, it's about leading by example and making sure that you're being the very best version of yourself, that you're asking questions of others. You're saying, what do you really need right now? What do you think and feel right now? And providing a safe place for that truth. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to handle the truth. You know, we've been asked a lot in media at the moment, and media, and we've been given a lot of opportunities to speak our truth, but not everybody knows how to handle the truth. You know, it's very confronting, and it's also really hard when you start speaking your truth because not everybody wants to hear it. So that takes another layer of courage on top of actually identifying what that truth is. So I encourage you today, guys, for this week's Monday Mojo to think about, what are your vital ingredients? And winners, they don't wing it. Roger Federer stands up and practices tennis all the time, no matter how many Grand Slam titles a pro has won, the balls do not come slower. But they need to be more mentally agile. They need to constantly evolve on all levels, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So we need to do the same. It's like you wouldn't go on the Dakar Rally without knowing what resources, first aid, repair kits, pit crew, fuel, some kind of, destination point, your communication, GPS. You wouldn't just hit the Dakar Rally without being prepared. So why do we constantly go into every week and every month of our lives expecting that something's going to be different? You must be the change. And I think that's the coolest thing, is that in this age of complexity, the magic is simplicity. It really, really is. And when you get onto that and you surrender trying to control everything and you just spend time on yourself, the rewards of that are incredible. And as a leader, more importantly, as a leader, you must do this. You must take time out to figure out your vital ingredients, because only then can you lead by example, ensure that you're working in alignment, that you're continually giving back to yourself so that you can stand up on that platform, energized, clear, visionary, and creatively available for people, and that you're enjoying this journey, because this is what it's all about. It's not just the destination, it's the journey. So suit up, step up, get your pit crew, but first of all, write down what you really want. And that's what I want you to do. Please send them to me if you want to. You can send them to nikki@thevitalitycoach.com.au. You can come and chat with me on Instagram at Fogden-Moore. I'd love to have you there. Facebook, same thing. LinkedIn, come connect, leave me your comments. But most importantly, you have to be in the driver's seat. Nobody else is operating this vehicle. The landscape's going to change. It's going to be all seasons and all conditions, but you are in charge of your destiny. So it's time to get busy with it. And remember, people that really love you will support you. So you've got to be a bit fearless, and you've got to be fearless to come out and say, this is who I am. This is what I want. I've taken some time. And also ask them the same questions. It's really, really cool. So step into your sovereign self, guys. I hope that today's Mojo, whenever you listen to this, has given you a little bit of insight to step into the driver's seat, to take accountability, to step up for yourself, and to know that there is so much more out there, but you must replace fear with curiosity. Right? Tune in. There's so many videos on my channel, Vitality Coach TV. Just go through the playlists. Monday Mojos are all there, all the show and podcasts. Amazing guests. I want to thank all the guests that I've had on the show to date. You might like to listen to some from Lane Beachley, the ones from Trevor Hendy. I've got a couple of cool ones with, Jake Edwards. There's just some great people to show that vulnerability is navigating your way through life and then popping up going, whoa, that was hectic. So that's what you got to embrace is the bumps along the way, because that's where you have your greatest growth. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Nikki Fogden-Moore. This is your Monday Mojo, and I'm talking about why winners don't wing it and how you need to define your vital ingredients with the steps below, a link to the blog, and sign up for Monday Mojo to get it straight to your email, vitalitycoach.com.au. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share, like, and subscribe. And if you like, I will try and do some more videos on YouTube a bit more regularly. This is new, but I really appreciate those that are listening. And remember, you're in the driver's seat, so no winging it, guys. Have a really great week and tune in for other videos. Bye-bye.